Baroness Caroline Cox, she's a 79-year-old, as you said. She's from the British House of Lords.
Like, that's impressive.
Oh, yeah. And I've heard of her for years because she's always been an advocate for the persecuted church, for those who are suffering. She's been an incredible voice globally. And, you know, here she is at 79. She went to Nigeria to investigate some terrorist attacks by Fulani herdsmen. So
what's the hot spot on the news all the time where she's at? And this 79-year-old is going in there.
It's amazing. And, you know, when you think about Nigeria and terrorism, you always hear about Boko Haram, who's a group that's aligned itself with the Islamic State. But actually, there's another faction that's rising. We want to let you know about it. The Fulani Herdsmen are a group of people who basically follow their herds around Nigeria. And they've always been Muslim, but recently they've become radicalized with the whole movement that we've been seeing. And they've been attacking Christian churches. Even last year, there was one village where they killed 500 people last February in one day.
It's horrific.
It's awful.
And when we rhyme off these numbers, the 7-year Islamic rebellion, there's 20,000 people dead, Cheryl. And how do you process 20,000 people dead? There's 2.6 million people displaced. Yeah. That's more than most cities in Canada. And the list goes on, and 4 countries in Western Africa are impacted by this. And a 79-year-old lady, by God's grace, is saying, I'm going to make a difference.
Yeah. She goes and tours 4 villages that were decimated, and now many of these herdsmen have taken over the villages because these people can't come back. It's too dangerous. For a matter of fact, in one village she went to see, they found a lot of people and killed them, but also the pastor in particular, they killed him and were rejoicing over that. So there she is, taking a look at all of this, and they notice that all the kids in the village disappear. Yeah. And her guide who's paying attention says, I think actually they've gone to tell the Fulani that you're here and we better leave.
They just had a short window of time, didn't they, for that?
They did. And then as they were getting ready to leave, they heard that they were starting to gather. So they got in the vehicle, they took off. Within 30 minutes, the Fulani herdsmen came choking off the only entrance to the village, and they started shooting at cars. They believe, the pastor of that village believes that they were targeting her as a Westerner, which would have been a huge get for them, I guess, world headlines. But it's not the first time she's faced death, and she's a little bit lackadaisical about it, in a sense. Like, she's kind of like...
You know, she doesn't see herself greater than that pastor who was killed, but she just realized that God protected her. And I have to believe in my mind, she's saying, okay, God, what's next? And likely we're going to hear from her again in the news very soon.
I think so. And, you know, coming out of that, her concern was for the people. So what happens a lot of time is that, you know, we can leave. And I find this as well in a lot of my work when it's dangerous, is that you know that you will probably leave and you'll be fine. But the people who are left behind are the ones that we're concerned about. Take a look at what she had to say about that.
Because one's always worried, if you're in this kind of frontline situation, that local people will suffer retaliation because you've been there. So we always ask local people if they want us to go. It's very important. And whenever we do go, they say, yes, we want you to come. We want you to tell the truth. We want you to tell the world what is happening to us. And not much worse can happen to us than already has happened. So we come back to safety, always have done so far. They live there. They live in that danger constantly on those front lines of faith and freedom. And it's a privilege to be with them. But they are the real heroes and heroines of faith.
You know, Cheryl, one of the things that I'm processing is the Baroness criticizes churches in the South. Talk to me about that. What's that all about?
Yeah, well, southern Nigeria is much wealthier and safer. And so the churches there could help the churches in the north. The northern churches are suffering, like trying to take care of these orphan kids whose parents have been killed. You said 2.9 million displaced people within Nigeria, and they just don't have the money. But it can be very tribal.
The South has money. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's her belief.
In comparison.
In comparison, and it's very tribal. She says they could help. They need to get beyond that tribal. But I think as well we can help. And we can help Nigeria. There's lots of ministries that work with the persecuted church, Voice of the Martyrs Canada, Open Doors Canada. We can get involved and help make a difference. And you know, the Bible says when one part of the body suffers, we all suffer. So this is our family.
But I think the danger here in Canada is we want to live in that incubator. But I think what is becoming a great opportunity for us is to step out and make a difference. And I'm so excited that Huntley Street is involved in so many organizations, because we can hear this and just be overwhelmed. And maybe you're thinking, well, what can I do? How can I make a difference? What would you say if somebody is listening to this saying, Cheryl, how do I make a difference? I'm just one.
You know, I think sometimes we get discouraged because you hear about one organization that doesn't do the work that it said it did or improperly spends money, so people withhold. But the truth is, in the last generation, we've been able to cut extreme poverty around the world in half. Literally in half, which means in the next generation we could potentially eliminate it if we keep going. And I see that all the time with the work that Crossroads Relief and Development does. It's making a difference in people's lives, and they're so thankful. And so I just want to say, believe that, find a good organization to partner with, we're one of them, and believe that it's making a difference and invest, because we can be part of changing things around the world. And I've seen it.